Hello, it's March 31st, 2023, and it's MLB opening day. The Chicago White Sox have fired, well, at least demoted, General Manager Rick Hahn for another alumni of the University of Michigan, myself, William Gregory. I want to welcome you to this series. I'm going to start on a channel that was meant originally to record Minecraft videos 10 years ago, but is now being used for out-of-the-park baseball. So for this series, I'm going to attempt to rebuild the Chicago White Sox. Obviously, I'm doing this at the beginning of the 2023 season rather than opening day, where the White Sox are, I think, 20 games under 500. I'm recording this on August 1st. The trade deadline has passed, and the White Sox have sold off a couple of these players that we will get to know. But for right now, I'm going to try and build up these White Sox. Even though I'm a Detroit Tigers fan, I think this is an interesting team as we look at their salaries. They're kind of on the edge of contention and rebuilding, I think, judging the actions taken in the trade period this July. It didn't go as planned. They still hold on to Luis Robert and Eloy Jimenez, Tim Anderson. So these are going to be decisions we're going to have to make with these players. Obviously, this is a lot of money for bullpen arms like Graveman, Bummer, Diekman, not necessarily Ruiz, but Joe Kelly, Hendricks. Hendricks we won't be able to trade because of his cancer diagnosis. So let's, I think, at first dive into the prospects that I wanted to identify because they are the future of the team. There are some more players, I think, in rookie ball that have high potentials, but I want to wait until they get to higher levels of the minors before I consider them real prospects, especially because some of them I signed as minor league free agents. So first, Norge Vera, who in Foolish Baseball's Out of the Park 19 sim with the White Sox became a very accomplished pitcher. I'm inspired to make this series because of P.F. Holden and Foolish Baseball's Out of the Park series. They're what really got me into the game in the first place during the pandemic, so I'm excited to do this. Vera, high stuff, control's a little lacking. Then again, my scout doesn't have a full profile on him. He didn't really pitch well in Birmingham last season, neither in Winston-Salem, so we'll see how it goes. I have him highlighted because he's a pitcher I know. Sean Burke, I think he's a recent draft pick, 3rd round 2021, named the 100 prospect in MLB. I don't know how that is happening. He's not really all that good. 40 potential. Didn't pitch well in AAA last year. Didn't really pitch well in Birmingham either. He had a good WAR. But the movement and the control need to come up before I consider him a real starter. Maybe if I have him for starting in Charlotte just to see how he does. He has good leadership capability. Hopefully he comes out as a spark plug or something if this personality class is something. Noah Schultz, the 1st round pick in 2022 of the White Sox. I don't really like this profile. Hopefully the scouting comes up. Only 3 pitches. He's got good stuff, but movement and control, I don't know if they'll develop. 92 to 94 sidearm. Got work ethic high, though, and he's a lefty, so we'll see. Peyton Pellett. With Tommy John, kind of an average starter profile. These prospects are all within the top 500 in Major League Baseball. They're about the top 10 prospects in the White Sox system with a few additions. Christian Mena, I've seen him turn out well in previous sims. He's a free agent signing. He's, I think, the most complete pitcher we've looked at so far. If this movement and control come up, he's got 4 pitches. I'm excited about him to see what he does in Birmingham this year. Wes Kath, kind of the first, basically a first baseman that we're going to see. He can play third base, but I don't like him there. The White Sox have a lot of bat-first prospects that can kind of play second or third, but really profile better as first baseman, for me at least. And even then, as a first baseman, I don't really think Kath has anything extremely exciting about him. He's got a chance to come up and be a major leaguer, but at 20, he's very well developed. I just don't know if this is going to come along any farther. Jonathan Cannon, I've drafted him in other sims as a two-way player. He's not as prolific on the offensive side, as you can see. And as a pitcher, he's a righty. 4 pitches, cool. I mean, I think he's going to be a decent player. Ryan Burrows, I don't know what draft pick he was. He's 18. He's Panamanian. Okay, maybe they signed him in free agency. Hit well in rookie ball last year, so I promoted him to Kannapolis in single A. He is a capable second baseman, good base runner, decent hit tool. We'll see. Jordan Sprinkle, I think I saved him because he's high on the White Sox prospect rankings. I don't really see much from him. He's got a good glove, but not good enough to be glove only, and the bat is average. Brian Ramos, one of the top prospects in the org. Again, another guy that can't really play third base, or I wouldn't like him to stick there. He's 6'2", so he'll be a good first baseman as we have him go through the minors. He'll start in Birmingham, where he ended last year. Hit well in Winston-Salem, didn't hit well in Birmingham. The bat's pretty good. I could see him come up as a first baseman to maybe replace Jake Berger as a righty once we move on from him, like the White Sox did today. They sent him to the Marlins. He's a decent player. Colson Montgomery, another guy, 6'4", he's going to be a first baseman. I have him training at second right now. He's not going to be a third baseman, doesn't have the arm for it, and he's not going to be a shortstop, definitely. He could play left field and right field passively, but I wouldn't like to put him there. He's a lefty. I think he's the top prospect in the organization right now. I don't know if this is a very dire farm system if that's the case. Adam Hackenberg, I actually really like him as a catcher. Catcher ability isn't as important this year as it has been. His arm is good. I'd like it to be higher than 55, the ability, but his bat, I think, will carry him. As a righty, he's 23. He's already this far developed. Hopefully, if we get this scouting accuracy, I'll request a report to very high. We can see that he's pretty good. I don't know how his bat profile is as well, because if you look at his stats, not great throughout the minors, but we'll see. Lloydell Chappelli signed as an international free agent. Another guy. The Cuban connection continues for the White Sox, which is something I want to continue. I think it's a fun thing with Robert and Jimenez and all the rest of them. He's got a really good skill set. Can play the outfield, can play a little bit in the infield, so he's going to be a versatile player. At 21, he's already coming along. Hit really well in rookie ball last year, 3.2 WAR, 224 WRC+. I like him. I don't like the Ks as much, but good eye, good power. Contact needs to come up maybe, but good prospect. Terrell Tatum, 16th round pick in 2021, has ascended the system, hitting well really at every stop. Hasn't been playing much though, but last year he hit well. He's got 65 range, not really an arm to speak of out there in the outfield, so I'd see him more as a left fielder, but that's a Gold Glove potential in left field. 85 potential eye, really like that, but gap power doesn't matter as much, so I think he needs to come along in the other aspects of his game. He can walk as much as he wants, but he's a lefty, steals bags. He's a good player. 65 potential, I don't really agree with that. I think he's more of an average player, but if that eye develops, I could see it. Wilfred Veras, he can play third base a little bit more competently than the rest of the infield prospects for the Sox. He can kind of play outfield. I wouldn't put him there, though. Somehow profiles as a 55 potential there. 70 overall potential, 65 power in the bat with a 60 contact. That's very, very promising. Has hit well in the minors. He's, I think, the top prospect in the system, in my opinion. Eric Hernandez, though, another 70 potential guy in rookie ball. They signed him in the international free agent period last year. He'll probably end up being a DH. Can't play first. Range isn't good enough for the outfield. So it would just have to be if this bat develops. But at 18, it's already this far along. So I'm excited to see how he comes along. Those are the prospects. I wanted to preview them first just because I think they're very important. But this farm system needs a lot of overhauling. these are all the short lists I'm going to have. This is way more than I normally do, but part of the reason that I wanted to start this series was to get more in depth into a sim. Usually I just kind of, I sim day to day, but I go through it too fast. I want to stay in the moment and enjoy it. So we'll get into some of the guys I want to look at in the active roster. Uelki Cespedes, obviously related to Ioannis. He's been a good right fielder option for me in a couple other sims the past few years with that arm in right field. He's a righty. I think he strikes out too much and doesn't walk, and the contact isn't really where I'd like it, so we'll see about him. Gavin Sheets, I have him in the outfield right now just because we have Berger and Vaughn up. Even though they're both righties, he'll see time at first base in a lefty platoon. That's a good bat. All right. Robert, we all know who he is. I think his profile went down a little bit after last year, only a 110 WRC plus, after kind of lighting the world on fire in his rookie year in 21. We'll see how he does. He's a good glove out there. Gold Glove winner in 2020. Oh, so he's a rookie in 2020. Yeah, okay. So second year he set the world on fire, got hurt. Benintendi, I don't like this contract. He's a decent bat, but again, getting 16 mil a year, I think we could see him decline fairly quickly. But he's been an average bat throughout his career, so we'll see. He doesn't have the Gold Glove capability that he did in Boston. He won that in what? Oh no, he won that in Kansas City, really. Okay, well, left field Gold Glove in Kansas City. I thought he was better with the glove in Boston. Jimenez, we need big power from him. This isn't a bad contract, but I don't really see him doing that well with his profile every year and out of the park. He hits like for a 100 OPS plus, maybe 30 bombs, but can't play the field. He's a DH. I don't know. Tim Anderson, I think that after this last season, where his production was a little bit less out of the park, kind of cooled off on him. I remember the past few years he'd be a 70 range shortstop with MVP hitting capability. That's not who he is anymore. He's got a team option next year, I believe, for $14 million. We'll probably opt into that just because that's a good number for a shortstop that can hit, but we'll see if he can hit this season. I've seen him not be able to hit. Moncada, I really like him, actually. He's got the biggest contract for a hitter on the team, I think, for multi-years. But he plays a good third base. He didn't hit well last year. That's what I'm scared about. But this bat still profiles well for me. And then the thing about him is that he can play in the outfield at a Gold Glove level, which is, I think, where I'm going to move him after the year to play right field. 65 range, 65 arm, that's a really good player as a switch hitter in the outfield. And if we're going to keep him around for the contract, I plan on doing this realistically, so I'm not going to just trade everybody. That's where I'd want to put him. Alberto, I love him. Probably not going to be around until... I only kept him because I liked him. I would have probably promoted Jose Rodriguez, who's 21, but wanted to keep Alberto because he doesn't have any options. Elvis Andrus, just rock steady. I think he's like a good bet. Yeah, he's already at 2,000 hits in his career, which is just really funny. I've seen him stick around and get close to 3,000 before, so hopefully he maintains production. We're only on the hook for $3 million for him. Jake Berger, good power potential. Obviously, he's got a better bat in real life this year, but maybe he bursts out. Wow, he really has not played the majors. I feel like I've known him for longer than this, but he's almost still got rookie eligibility. We'll see. He's a good bat. I wanted to keep him around. He was started in AAA, but I brought him up. Andrew Vaughn, I think the superstar bat of this team. I hope he pans out. Maybe it'll be a Torkelson situation. I don't know. I just finished a huge simulation of the Tigers, and Torque didn't pan out at all. He's got better ratings, and he still hits righties pretty well as a right-handed bat. Obviously, he's a first baseman only, and he's, 6 foot? I thought he was shorter than that. He'll stick around, I think, at only 24. Grandal, really good, really good. I just hope the production backs it up. He has not been good for a while, since 21. So we'll see. Sebi Zavala, I kept him up because of his ability at catcher. I have a better hitting catcher in AAA, I think. And I bought Roddy Reed from the Atlantic League. I'll show you the leagues I have enabled in a minute in the settings. This will be a longer video than I think I normally will do, but we'll see. I came into this wanting shorter videos, like 12 to 20 minutes, so that's my sweet spot for this kind of content, but maybe it drags on. Zavala, whatever, 29, sure. Reynaldo Lopez, free agent after the year. He's a really good reliever. I think we'll trade him. He'll be the closer. I mean, this is all to say if we do as poorly as the White Sox did this past season so far. I don't know. We'll see. Tanner Banks, I think he's under contract for a little bit longer. No, he's on the minimum. Yeah, sure. Lefty, though. They have good lefty relievers on this team. They've invested a lot into that. Another guy, Aaron Bummer, I think he's got a longer term than I'd like, but it's not too expensive. Really good movement. In my last sim with the Tigers, he played until 40, so still got 11 years left to match that, Aaron. Diekman really trailed off after last year. I mean, he was good with Oakland before 2020. It's just been kind of bad. So we'll see. I think he's got a team option. Yeah, maybe we'll trade him if he pitches well. Graveman, I don't like that term. And he's not like a lockdown guy, obviously, so we'll see. Joe Kelly just got traded in real life. Sure. Jose Ruiz, whatever. Sanchez, I brought up because he's a lefty and he could start, so I actually have some promise with him with the 65 movement. And as a ground ball pitcher, usually they outpitch their ratings and out of the park, so I'm excited about him. Cease, he's the ace, man. I wanted to extend him, but if I extrapolate out long-term demand, he wants 22 a year, and he's still got one more year arbitration, so I don't really want to do that right now. Clevenger, I thought about just retiring him, but he'll be gone after the year. I don't, if you don't know the story, whatever, but Giolito, I think he is capable of bouncing back. I hope he is. He's a free agent after the year, though, and that's why the Dodgers traded for Lynn. Giolito was sent to the Angels because he's a free agent, and the White Sox don't want to sign a guy who's been so up and down throughout his career. I thought he was going to win the Cy Young last year, but I was mistaken. Kopech, disruptive, needs arbitration soon. I'll probably get rid of him, to be honest. I don't like that personality class for a guy that's not even that good. Lance Lynn, good pitcher. I don't think he'll be as bad as he was in the first half this season for us, so the first half in real life. And he's got a team option that's $18 million. I don't know. We'll play it out. And that's it for the active roster. I'll check out some of the guys we have on the 40-man in AAA. Oscar Colas, obviously. Oh, Alex Colome. No. Colas. He'll be the lefty bat. First guy up from AAA. Better fielding ratings than in previous out of the parks. That's a good right fielder. And he's a lefty. The reason I don't have him up there is because we have a lot of lefties in the outfield right now. Good power. I'm excited for him. He should be an impact bat for us in the near future. Hazley, I like him a lot, actually, but his fielding ratings aren't that good. He's a leader, though. Victor Reyes, former Tiger. I'll keep him around for as long as he lets me. Lenyn Sosa, I've seen him be pretty good in saves this year, but the defensive ratings suss me out, and he's not a great hitter, so we'll see. And that's it for the guys that I'd like to look at. I have him training at first base right now just so he can be a utility guy. I don't know. Billy Hamilton's in Double-A. This is a really bad system. Like, really bad. That's why I wanted to take control of the White Sox this season. Most of the hitting prospects overlap with each other in terms of their skill set. I hope this Wilmer Feliciano guy that I signed in free agency is good, because I think that's just kind of a mirage of an 80 potential. Same with this guy and this guy. But I think that even the young guys, there's really not that many of them. Schultz is one. Burrows, these guys all overlap, and I don't think that they'll all come up, even if they all succeed. Um, they're all kind of guys that would cannibalize each other for at bats. So we'll see as we move forward with trades who we want to keep. This is my trade block right now that I'm working with. And this is only in the event of like catastrophe that I trade Anderson, Andrus, and Grandal. I'd trade the pitchers any day of the week just because they're pitchers. I think my organizational philosophy is going to be to lean into hitters. There's no such thing as a pitching prospect. So, and it's really easy to build a good bullpen and out of the park without investing into pitchers high. Although I'm not going to stick to that. I drafted a reliever in a different sim that came up immediately and was like an 80 overall, 80 potential guy. 2 WAR as a like 2-pitch closer guy. Usually I like my stoppers, but he was so good. So that's what we got in terms of the White Sox. The money is not great that we have left. I was going to move off one of these contracts, but nobody wants the relievers, and I'm not going to trade any of the position guys right now. Maybe Clevenger. We can look at that. No. Yeah, nobody wants these guys. They're overpaid. Player development. Colas and Colas and Montgomery were in the top 100 before I got to opening day, but they dropped out. And then Sean Burke, for some reason, was named the 100th best prospect, but he's not there right now. I don't know. Yolbert Sanchez is good. Not really going to be an impact guy, but this is the farm system. 30th out of 30th. We're starting at the bottom. And the way I want to attack the save is to look at the college leagues. So I have 12 different college summer baseball leagues, all with accurate teams. And I have 6 independent leagues in the World Baseball Classic along with Korea. I didn't like how Out of the Park handled the international leagues being all deleted after NPB was going to sue them. I think they could have kept Mexico and Europe and all that, but I think it's just better to keep the leagues that are there in the game already without manufacturing players. And I don't really like how they handle how those international leagues generate talent, except for Japan and Korea, because they actually generate good players that come over to MLB, but Mexico doesn't have a draft. All those young players would just sign in international systems in MLB rather than go through the Mexican League. I don't like that, so that's why I only kept Korea. We will get Cuban and Japanese established free agents, but I want to really lean on the draft. I won't import the draft results from this past season because I'm not Rick Hahn, and I really don't like their draft class. If I look at Jacob Gonzalez, who's their first-round pick, he's not any good. Yeah. Like, sure, as a second baseman, but as a 15th overall pick, I don't like it. There's better players that I have my eye on for my scout that has high accuracy on a few guys. These are the guys I have so far shortlisted. Obviously, Max Clark isn't going to get to us because he's going to be a Hall of Famer for the Tigers, but Mac Horvath, not a first rounder, excuse me, but this is a really good personality, and he's coming along as a college bat. Guys like Kershaw, I wouldn't take in the first round. He can't play shortstop, but he's listed as one. Waldrop, good pitcher. Again, though, no such thing as a pitching prospect. He's come along, though. But these are guys I have highlighted. So this is the plan, I think. We're going to see how this season goes. I'm not going to be shy about selling if we don't do well. But if we do well, I think, sell some prospects. There's not really anywhere to go with this farm system. There's not a lot of guys that I like. I'll hold on to the guys that I do like, but if we make a playoff push in the first season, which I believe we can, the division is weak, I won't be shy about acquiring players either. So this is really everything's out in front of us this season, next season, and as these contracts expire. I could promote Charlie Montoyo to the manager position. I think he's a good manager. I want to keep this realistic, so I'm not just going to go hire the best guy immediately. Like, I could have a better scout than this, but he's highly favored tools, just not a great one. I could have a better trainer, but I like to keep it realistic. These guys are under contract. A new general manager wouldn't come in and just fire all of them immediately. But I could see us firing Griffall. I mean, this is terrible. Yeah, so This is the Chicago White Sox sim. I think that I will come back next time before the draft, which is now in early July, and I'll update you then on who we have our eye on and what the team's looking like at that point. So I'd like to thank you for tuning in. Hopefully this series continues and I don't forget about it. I'm very excited about it. I play this game too much. And I wanted to have some sort of structure and content and something to speak of as I play it. So I hope you're all invested in what I'm going to do, but I'm excited for how this team's going to take shape. We'll move through this first season fast. These aren't our players. I want to get to the point where we have our guys that we like. So I will see you all in July.